Well, it's time to go racing again. The restart to Heat 2A. And here are the boats. The Formula boats, Oh Boy Alberto with Steve David. ProCraft Windows, Miss Albert Lee, and the MirageBoats.com. It is the restart of Heat 2A.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, the official airline of Seafair, with 4 daily nonstop flights to Denver. And is presented for Seafair by 76, proud sponsor of the Chevrolet Cup. 76, get the spirit.
So let's see which of the drivers now are going to get dialed back in the quickest out on the course here at Lake Washington. And for that, we will head right to the drivers of these boats. First up, Jeff Bernard, who was leading the race when the Haas Mortgage blew over in the FormulaBoats.com boat. Michael?
He's simply going to have to readjust his thinking on this situation, forget what happened before, get back into his game plan, and try to find that inside lane.
And Bill Rocky, are they on their game plan down there in the pits?
Well, he definitely had his game face on when he got into the boat. When he came out of the boat the last heat, he was very upset, so we'll see how he handles that mentally.
His toughest competition, Chip, will be this man, Steve David, in the Oh Boy Alberto.
He was about to lose 100 valuable national points to Jeff Bernard. This is a second chance to get those 100 points back.
And guard Steve David always has a smile on his face, but my guess is pretty serious right now.
Yeah, I talked to him just a couple moments ago. You know what? He is very, very intense right now, I should say. And he said the big thing right now is to drive more aggressive, get the inside right off the top.
All right, of course, the Haas Mortgage boat flipped, so it's out. The Miss ProCraft boat, driven by Ken Muscatel, though, will keep running, Chip.
Ken Muscatel doesn't have much of a shot here. The only thing Ken can do to make it to the final heat is to just keep finishing. That's all he'll try to do.
Well, he isn't even going to make a start. He's dead in the water off the north turn. It doesn't look like he's going to make a start.
All right, here's Brian Perkins in the Miss Albert Lee Spirit of the Navy boat, Mike.
And this is the young guy in a learning curve right now. The field is shortening down as some attrition is taking some boats out, and you have a chance here.
And finally, Greg Hopp in Fred Leland's U100 MirageBoats.com. And Pat O'Day, here's the restart coming up. What do you think?
Pride and joy of Gig Harbor. Jeff Bernard still in the catbird seat.
All right, Michael, it's all yours. Take it away.
Bernard has taken a chance here. He's coming down the front straightaway very early and very slowly. He will not be able to ratchet up much speed at the start line to avoid jumping the gun. Stephen David on the lane 2, however, and Greg Hopp to the outside of him. These are the guys. Bernard just jumped the gun. Bernard just jumped the gun by a couple of seconds, so he's taken himself out of this, unfortunately. He got psyched out. Stephen David is the one who's going to wind up your leader, although physically not in first place. That's unofficially, of course, but by our clock, Bernard was over the line way too fast, Chip.
Mike, that was silly. Absolutely silly. He just threw away maybe a chance to get in the final, when all he needed to do was make a decent start, pick up a second or a third. He needs a scolding after this one.
And of course, Stephen David knows that. He's going to pick up some extra points on Jeff Bernard. That's what he wanted to do, just keep the pressure on him, get in his head. It wasn't a matter of driving next to him. It was a matter of actually just letting him go and making his own mistake. This is a case where an individual got upset and just simply didn't remain disciplined and took himself out of the race. Steve David is your official leader now. He comes down to end lap number 1. The boat that's physically out front, Pat O'Day, is not your leader.
I know. Bernard really turned a quick first lap, 147 miles an hour to 139 for Stephen David, but it looks like officially Bernard is not the leader.
That's correct. He'll stay out front, obviously trying to go as fast as he can to see if he can't catch up to some of the trail boats and try to get a little closer and build a few more points. But by now it's been radioed to him that isn't going to work for him as far as being the leader. And by now Stephen David realizes that he's got the rest of the field handled very, very well, and he'll just leave all the water necessary to run on the cleanest and slop-free track he possibly can at this point to pick up his score. Jeff Bernard comes across the line, and he actually has an extra lap to go after that, so he's only 2:04 down. And with one more lap to go in the white flag, the Oh Boy Alberto comes down the line. And here is a situation where, as we told you, the learning process works, because now we have Mr. Perkins in second place. Things came to him. He actually is outrunning Greg Hopp, who had earlier outrun him. So this is a good move for Brian Perkins, because he actually benefits from the whole thing.
So let's contrast Jeff Bernard with Brian Perkins. Jeff Bernard had a better boat, He had more points going into this heat. He had less to prove. He should have done exactly what Brian Perkins did, which is make a nice conservative start. It's all coming to Brian Perkins, and that worked out so well for him last week in the Tri-Cities. He finished second in the final heat just by being smart.
And right now, Jeff Bernard comes across the line and gets the white flag. He has to go around one more time now. The checker comes out for Steve David, who's right on his game plan and has just picked up some more points toward National High Point Championship. And second place is going to be Brian Perkins, in a very respectable second place that is. One of his better performances of the year. Third place coming down, this will be Greg Hopp in the MirageBoats.com. And he simply got beaten by Brian Perkins, who started and kept his position better than Greg Hopp, who is one of the older veterans. This is a case of the young guy taking the measure of the older guy.
And everybody take note that that FormulaBoat.com with Jeff Bernard turned a lap at 145, and the next one at 147. At the end of the day, he's a mighty quick customer out there.
You know, you can be a quick customer, but it does you no good unless you get into the final. And I think I would be a really good boat owner. I'd be real gentle with my driver, but I'm afraid I would have to take Jeff Bernard into the truck and sit him down and say, Jeff, you can't just throw points away like that. You know, if it was a final heat and he took a chance and it blew up in his face, but he just threw away a lot of the team's hard work, a lot of the, you know, sponsors' money for no reason whatsoever.
I have a question for you, the driver. Is that decision by the driver out there as to how he's going to start, whether he's going to slow down or cut through the infield, is that made by him, or does he get help from the guys on the beach who are in the radio contact with him?
In my opinion, it should be all the driver. They may be giving him some information, but ultimately, as the driver, you are responsible no matter what happens. Even if they're telling you to do something different, you're responsible. It's like a pilot flying commercial airline. That pilot's ultimately responsible for the safety and everything on that aircraft. So I'm afraid Jeff Bernard needs a little talking to here.
And Mike, he looks a little dejected, actually.
Well, he knew the moment he crossed the start-finish line there at the beginning there that it was all over for him in this heat, and he just had to do as much as he could to save some face and get some points. But if we get to look at that start line again, you're going to see Jeff Bernard sitting on the inside lane. He wanted it so badly he was willing to risk being way, way early. Here he is, creeping down that front straightaway, and he shouldn't even be there. He should be up in the turns with the rest of the guys.
Look at all this space. These guys are on the money. Why is he up here? Why is he here? Now in a final heat, maybe, but even that would be crazy. And now here, 3, 2, 1. I mean, he is, I would say, 300 yards down the road when he should be at the start-finish line.
And this is the guy who profits from him. He picks up another series of points toward the national high points. So things are going well for the sausage boat today.
So the Alberto was the winner, and the next place was... who
Miss Albert Lee.
Yeah, Albert Lee finished second, and the boat with Greg Hopp finished third.
Now we may have a penalty pending on the Albert Lee also, we're told. We're waiting to see exactly what the officials say about that, but they have a penalty obviously pending on the 5 boat for jumping the gun. But the Albert Lee is also under suspicion right at the moment, which may change things a little bit around and may explain also why Greg Hopp didn't drive so fast.
Steve David is he is the wiliest guy out here. He has made his career on taking what's available. As a driver, your first job is like a doctor. First, do no damage. He never does any damage.
Well, let's talk with Steve David right now, the winner of this heat, unofficially at least. He's down in the pits with our reporters.
Regular deal. Isn't it? Hey,
I love it.
First of all, congratulations on another win.
Thanks. Alberto's having a great day, and kind of pulled that one out of the Chip Hanauer handbook when just use old age and treachery to overcome that youthful anxiety.
Chip says you're like a doctor. First, take care of yourself, and you did today.
Yeah, we did. We just Alberto was really in this points race, and that was a huge help to us. I think we're 931 or so up on them, and gain another 137. And for us, it's about points, and obviously we'd like to win heats, but we need to get that U1. So I've still got to be a little cautious.
And what do you think of Jeff Bernard? I know you saw him way out in front. You're thinking, what is going on?
Yeah, he just obviously a lot of pressure. It's a hometown race. Jeff's going to be a terrific driver, and heavens knows I've made a lot of mistakes like that in my time too. And give him a little bit of time, and the kid's going to be a fantastic driver. And Alberto's delighted to have a guy like that in the sport.
You think you psyched him out a little bit?
No, I think he probably psyched himself out. As Chip knows, when you're in the zone, it doesn't really matter what anybody else does. It matters what you're thinking and doing.
All right, good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, I appreciate it. And all our friends at Alberto, they're having a party in the lawn. Thanks, Alberto.
All right, let's go eat some beef jerky, but before that, let's send it over to Bill Rocky. Bill.